Welcome to Rallycross Fest 2023 Drivers Meeting. I'm Keto.
And I am Katie. This drivers meeting consists of two parts, just like always. We're going to have this main video where we talk about the event, what to expect. That includes race weekend and for the workshop days. And then the second part is the video linked in the comments, excuse me, of this video. It's the cone basics video. So it's all about how to read cones. So be sure to watch that. If you haven't raced with us before, or you're brand new to Rallycross, please be sure to watch that. New for this year, or sort of bringing back for this year, we're going to bring back the in-person drivers meeting on race days, both race days, Saturday and Sunday. Each course will have a drivers meeting with all of the drivers racing on that course for that day before any competition starts. So just
First thing in the morning.
First thing after check-in and tech and all that is done,
And
just like olden times. It's mandatory. We're going to talk about the course. We're going to talk about expectations. We're going to talk about any little like safety things, hazards that came up the day before or in advance of the day. So be there. It's required. All right. You also have an email, probably where you found this video, with a link to a competitor guide. Be sure to read that competitor guide all the way through. It's not too long and it has all the information you should need for the race. Read it early, give yourself time. Reason is that by like Wednesday, we're probably not going to be available to answer your questions over email, or at least not in a timely fashion. So if you read it early and you do have questions, you can email us early and we can get back to you.
Yeah, we'll be super tied up.
We will be super tied up. So this is a 4-day event. Days 1 and 2, Thursday and Friday, are the workshop classes. We have the advanced workshop on Thursday, and Friday is the novice workshop. And then Saturday and Sunday are race days. You will race both Saturday and Sunday. This is not like our other events where it is split in half and half race Saturday, half race Sunday. Everyone races both days. We have 2 courses. So on one day, you'll race one course, and on the other day, you'll race the other. So plan ahead, be at the event for both days, or you will be sad because you missed out. Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah. So we're going to, in terms of the video, we're going to start with race weekend, and then we'll talk about the classes. So if you're not taking a class, you can drop at that point. We'll tell you when that happens. So what is like the way this will work is that all competitors are broken into 2 main groups. We have group 1 and group 2. Each of those groups is then further broken down into 3 subgroups, A, B, and C. So you'll have a group 1A, 1B, 1C, or 2A, 2B, 2C. That will be your run group for the whole weekend. And that is how you know where you should be at any given time. So we try and keep it really organized. It's super important that you know where you're supposed to be and when, because we're just going to be moving through, trying to get everybody lots of seat time. And so it's important that you pay attention and you know where you're supposed to be. Group 1 will race on course 1 on Saturday. Group 2 will race on course 2 on Saturday. Then on Sunday, you will switch. We will also, on Saturday, we will run in the order of A, B, C. And then on Sunday, we'll run B, C, A. That way you get to mix up your days a little bit. And with these 3 run group styles, there's no lunch break. It's not like a normal event where we race, take a lunch break, and race again. Instead, you'll have a race session, a work session, and a rest session. So think of your rest session as your break. So you can watch racing, you can get something to eat, but that's how we break it down. So you will always rest before you race, and you will always go from racing to working. We will say this a million times, but just try and keep track of that, because we want you to be able to get in line for grid early on time. We don't want you to have to come back from course, get your car, all of that, and then get in line. So you'll be lined up for grid early. And then when you're done racing, you will just always go to work. So keep that in mind. What is different for this year is that when you finish racing, we will not send you back to paddock at the end of your last lap. Instead, you will come back to grid and stay in grid until you've been released. This does 2 things for us. Thing 1 is it makes sure if there's any reruns on that last lap, we don't have to go hustle through paddock to try and find you, because it's a pretty big footprint and it's a long way to go. And the second thing is that gives us the ability to release you at a set time and be very clear and be able to tell you exactly when to be back. There's no confusion. With a group this big, sometimes it can be a little hard. We can lose the messaging. Okay.
So course 2 will have some very specific directions because it's much further from paddock. You will not return back to paddock after racing. You will go to a designated parking area and then go out to your work assignment. So when you come to race at course 2, bring with you all your supplies, your water, everything else, a hat, whatever you need to work the course. You will pull your car off from grid into a designated parking area, go straight out to course. So have that stuff with you. That's really important.
Yeah.
Also, know that at the end of your rest period, you're going to need to be gridding. We're going to have a pre-grid area. So we're going to get cars gridded up ahead of time for course 2 and course 1. And then course 2, you will transit out to the grid area where you will have an opportunity to drop off your jacks, spare tires, whatever else. And then we will immediately go out to parade from there. And then hot after parade.
Yep. And so context on going straight from your work assignment to, going straight from racing to your work assignment is that last year we found it was a really long way for you all to go back to paddock, get your things together, and then hoof it back to the track. And it's just not enough time for you to do that. And so we just want to make sure you have enough time to actually take a breather, you eat a sandwich, whatever you need to do. And so this will allow for that. So it just takes a little extra planning.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. After the run groups, we'll have some tractor breaks. There'll be a little bit of time to transition out to the work area, but not enough to go all the way back to paddock and so on. So after your work assignment, you'll go back to your vehicle and then you can return to paddock.
Okay. So when you arrive at DirtFish, you will enter and exit through the main gate. So we've had some events lately where you've gone in through the back gates. Not this time, always the main gate. So if you plug in DirtFish to your GPS, that's where it'll take you. So you're in good shape there. And that will be true for all 4 days, in and out through the main gate. When you arrive, there'll be someone at the gate. You will sign a waiver. They will give you a wristband. Wear that wristband all weekend long, and you'll be able to get in and out of the gate super easy without having to sign again. If you lose that wristband or you have to take it off for some reason, you will have to sign again. So don't give the person at the gate a hard time if that happens. And then you're going to be directed to paddock.
That's right.
And you're going to get ready for tech inspection. You want to talk about tech inspection?
Yeah. So you'll arrive on paddock. Paddock will be out on the main pad, the main concrete area in between the planer building and the school. And we'll give you guys directions as to like where to park, depending on whether you're there with trailer or whatnot. But yes, once you're there, you get all set up. Then you'll come into tech inspection. We want your car just as you would race it. Please don't have anything loose in there except for your helmets. So when you get to tech, we want an empty car. No floor mats, any of that stuff. Bring your helmets. Please bring your helmets. You need to have your numbers on the car. You need to have all of your sponsor stickers for the event on the car. And then we will do a mechanical inspection. Quick note about the helmets. Please make sure you bring your helmets. Usually we have a couple loaners, but we have 2 courses and it just is going to be impossible to make that happen. So please make sure that you have your helmets.
Yeah, we won't be able to give out any loaners to drivers at Rallycross Fest. So you must have your own helmet.
Yes.
We had a lot of people at the last event not bring theirs. And so we just want to be explicit. This is a requirement to race.
Yeah, make sure it's the first thing that you pack in there. So when we get to your car, we're going to take a quick look over it, make sure that it looks safe, that we're gonna pull on your wheels, make sure that we don't have any clunking, any wheel bearing issues, any struts that are loose like that. We're gonna check and make sure that you have brake pedal, that you have throttle return, as long as you're not drive by wire, and check, make sure that belts and all your other safety stuff is in there. So like I said, just be prepared as you would for racing.
You forgot a really big one.
What's that?
Sound check.
Sound check. Yes, we will have a sound check. DirtFish has some neighbors that like it to be a little quieter. And so we do the same sound check that the Washington State Patrol does, so that we can keep everybody happy. And so you'll have a sound check that's done. If you haven't done one already this year, you'll have to have it done. If you have a little 2023 sticker up in your window, and you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you probably got to get a sound check. Unfortunately, with the neighbors there and us trying to be respectful, if you are borderline and you're over, we unfortunately have to take a pretty hard stance. There's some venues where it doesn't matter, and so we give a little bit of grace so people can fix it next time. But this is just a hard cutoff for us, unfortunately.
In our rules, there's a whole description of how to run the test. It download a decibel meter app. It even tells you what type of meter to have it in. Just walk through the steps. And if you have any, like if you think there's any chance you won't pass, walk through the steps. Make sure you check before, because we will have to disqualify you if you don't meet the requirements, just so we can continue to race there.
Yeah. And just so you know, a car that does not pass is really loud. Just so you know. So just it isn't like any small mod and you fail. It's a pretty high level. Vast majority of vehicles pass, but just make sure that you do. Open headers will not get you through. Open exhaust will not get you through. You're gonna need a muffler or something on there. So
window nets.
Yeah, so new rule that we have implemented for Open 4 and Open 2 classes. Window nets are required if you don't have safety glass or Lexan deals on there. So make sure you get them. They're not very expensive. You can get window net kits fairly inexpensively. I'm pretty sure I've talked to everybody that would be affected by this at this point, but if you haven't or have any questions, please reach out to me as soon as possible, so that we can get it worked through.
Yep. So if you're a side-by-side, window nuts are required.
Yeah.
You only need to pass tech inspection one time. So we will only have tech inspection for race weekend on Saturday. Sunday, you're all good. If for some reason you're only going to come on Sunday, this has happened before where you can't make the Saturday race, that's okay, but just give us a heads up, because we'll need to coordinate having someone there to tech your car on Sunday, because it won't be set up.
You will get your car checked if you do the schools.
That's the other part.
Yep. So know that you'll be done once we get through tech, which is the first thing we'll do in the day, along with check-in.
That's right. So if you go through this workshops, no need to do tech again.
Right.
And we're going to use this time to plug that we will have early tech inspection on Friday afternoon at DirtFish.
Yes.
This means that you can come without pressure of race day. You can get all your stickers on. You can go through tech early. You will even be able to leave your car, truck, trailer, whatever you need on site overnight, if that makes your life easier.
We'll have paddock open.
Yep. And so I think it's scheduled from 3 to 5:30. Double check the schedule when in your competitor guide, but that's a good amount of time to get that done. And what that does is it sort of alleviates the pressure of race morning for our staff and just sitting in line and all of that, because it's a lot of folks to get through tech. So early tech inspection is the place to be Friday night.
That's right. It's where all the cool kids will be.
All of the cool kids. All right. So you're done with tech inspection. What we do is we line everybody up in 2 lines. There's 2 tech inspection lines. And then when you get up to the front and you've passed tech, we will check you in. At check-in, we must see a valid driver's license. We don't care what state it's from, but it must be valid. So if you need to get on that, because we cannot let you race without a valid license. We will check your class. We will check your number. I think that's everything. And we will make sure the number you have on the side of your car is the number that we have in the system for you, just so all that's tidied up before you get to the start line. You then will have time to walk the course. If you look at the schedule, we have a good block of time to get through tech and walk the course. Give yourself plenty of time so you can get all that done. But then just know that we have a 30-minute block after tech inspection closes, where the course is just open for walking before anything else happens. We do that just because we know the tech line is long and you might end up waiting there for longer than you expect. And so we want to be sure everyone has time to walk the courses. You only need to walk the course for your course on that day.
Mhm,
Don't go walk the other one because it might change before you actually race on it.
Mhm.
So you'll be wasting steps and time.
mhm.
Um,
Give yourself lots of time on your course. You know, these may be courses, especially for out of towners, that are a little longer than you're used to. So give yourself a little more time. And yes, that is correct. There will likely be a handful of shifts to the course from day to day, so that we're not, you know, running on, you know, a high wear spot over and over again. So yes, I wouldn't waste a lot of time doing the course that you're not going to race.
Yep. And so if you are new to Rallycross, walking the course gives you a chance to see the course at a very low speed, whatever speed your feet can take you, and help you like come up with a plan of how you're going to attack the course.
Mhm.
If you are an experienced rallycrosser, but this is your first time racing on one of his courses, he also likes to throw in little surprises here and there. So walking the course a few times helps you find those gotchas
Yes.
and have a plan for them.
Yes, and also just be super clear, nothing wheeled is allowed out on course. So you cannot take your bicycle or scooter or anything else along those lines out on course during walking. You're welcome to ride your bicycle over to the start, set it aside, walk the course, and then ride it back to paddock, but not on course at all. If you do, not gonna work out great for you.
Yep.
So just don't, please.
So once the course walking time is over, we will have everyone gridded up who is racing. If you are working or resting, you need to be at the course as well, because you're gonna have a driver's meeting for your course. And
That's right.
so we're gonna talk you through all the course specific things, like I said, but it's required and it's important that you are there at that time, regardless of what your day looks like. So even if you start your day with that rest session, you still must be there for the driver's meeting at the beginning of the day. And then you have a couple hours to go do what you want to do.
Yes.
The way it works is you will show up for when it's your race session, you'll show up, you'll be gridded up by class. You will get a chance to do a parade lap, which is one lap of the course at low speed.
Mhm.
And then you will line up, you will race.
In case those that don't know, for dual drivers, you have two options. You guys can both go in the car at the same time
This is for the parade lap.
for the parade lap.
Mhm.
That's right. And then that's it. Or one of you can go in the car, do a lap, and then the other one gets in the car and you can do a lap separately. You guys cannot do two laps together.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, parade lap, race time. And like we said, 3 run groups: run, work, rest. So just keep that in mind. Think about your plan for your particular schedule. And then at the end of the day on Sunday, we do a big award ceremony with champagne, with the podiums. It's very fun. If you are confident you're going to land in the top 3, maybe do a little practice session with your champagne bottle. You don't want to be caught off guard there.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
technique is important in all things, not just racing. All right. So for racing specifically, you're at the start line. It's time to go. What do people need to know?
Well, we need you to have your helmets on, with the chin strap done. We need you to have your seatbelt on. Window needs to be rolled up. If you have a window net, it needs to be up. And then if you have a passenger, same on their side, including the window net. And they cannot hold a cell phone or a camera to be recording. You're welcome to have a nice fixed mount where you can mount those, but they are not to be holding it in their hand. If they are holding it in their hand and it is spotted out on course, you'll be red flagged and given a DNF for that run. So make sure your passenger that you are going to be responsible for is not holding anything in their hand like that.
Keyword there is you are responsible for your passengers. So if someone rides along with you, just make sure they know you can't have your phone, can't have a camera.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah.
Actually, in pro tip, it's nice to tell a passenger who's never been in your car before where to hold on to, because they may not know. So give them some advice.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, don't want them hanging on to you, right?
That doesn't work. Flailing about.
All
Okay. So what happens if you see a cone down on course?
Okay, you have two choices here. You can ignore that cone if you have a gate that you've seen has fallen over, because it is not going to count against you. So you can drive as if it isn't there. Or your second option is you can stop, point to it, make sure the course worker has seen that you're pointing out the cone, and then get back on your pony and get going, because there's probably a car behind you that's hot. Benefit of that is also you get to see the rest of the course at speed. And we will give you a rerun at the end of that run to make up for that. If you pass that cone, decide that you're just going to keep on driving, you get to the next gate, the next element, it is now too late. You're not going to back up and point to a cone back there, or come to us after the run is completed and tell us that the cone was down. You have a choice on the spot to make. That's it.
Yep.
So,
and we'll talk about this in course working,
yes.
But the responsibility of the course worker is to only call in a cone penalty if they saw the car hit it.
That's
and
right.
so if you continue driving, likely what has happened is the worker could not get to that cone in time before you got there. And so they'll set it up after you go, and they will not radio it in on you because they didn't see you hit it. So
that is correct.
That's how those two options work.
That is correct.
If you're driving along and you see a red flag waving at you,
well, what we want you to do is come to a stop as quickly as you can in a safe manner. Again, no need to go skidding off the road. Just come to a stop. Wait for a course worker to give you some directions. If you are not the cause of the red flag, yeah, we will be focusing usually on the cause of the red flag first. So please have a little bit of patience. Once we have that under control, we will give directions to the course worker to give to you, often just telling you to drive course at parade speed, or get to a certain part of course where we'll jump you off of course and reroute you back to start. If there is, end up driving past, a situation, just go by very slowly and understand there's people around.
Yeah, like if there's a stalled car and you're driving past it, just drive slow, take it easy.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now you might be the cause of the red flag. For example, if you have a D bead.
Yes. So if you have a D bead, we are going to red flag you. And the reason being is that we don't want your wheel digging in and causing a rollover. You're already going to be leaning to that side. So we're going to shut you down, and then we're going to bring you back through course slowly. We're going to ask you not to drive over the finish trigger. We don't want your rim cutting the cord, the hose. So we'll route you around it. You'll then get 10 minutes to fix your D bead and get back for a rerun. That is your only opportunity to get that freebie. After that, if you get another D bead, you'll be red flagged again, and you'll be given a DNF. So make sure that when you put your new tire on, maybe add a little tire pressure or something along those lines to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Yep. You get 10 minutes to get that fixed. You can either change your wheel or air it up. And that is your 1 10-minute timeout. You want to talk about the 10-minute timeout generally?
Yeah, so you have a 10-minute timeout to be used at your discretion. You can use it for whatever reason that you like, but you need to let grid know that you are taking this 10-minute. Your 10 minutes starts from when you are supposed to be racing, and then you need to be back and let them know that you're ready to go within that 10-minute time frame. It is up to you to keep track of that 10 minutes. As soon as you tell us, we will start a clock, our official clock, and when that 10-minute runs out, so does your time. You'll be then assessed a DNF if you don't return in that time frame. Can be used for any reason. You can take it at any time you choose, and
you get 1 per day.
There's 1 per day.
1 per day.
That is correct.
Cool. So the course is laid out with cones. Your total time per lap is the amount of time it takes you to complete the course, plus any cone penalties you receive. So you're going to watch this all the way through, and then at the end, there's a cone video, and that will explain the cone penalties. So there are no dropped runs. We race where the scores are cumulative. So if you do 4 laps on a course, your total time for the day is the time of all 4 laps plus any penalties. And then the fastest total time wins.
That's correct.
We have local Wi-Fi at each course, so you'll be able to pull it up on your phone. Instructions will be at the timing tent if you have any questions, but you'll be able to pull that up on your phone and see where you stand. And then what we're going to try to do overnight is post day 1 standings at the end of the day, as long as nothing unforeseen happens, but we should be able to post those, and then you'll be able to see where you are going into day 2. Okay.
Yep.
Part of your day is a work assignment. Like we said, you race, you work, and you rest. So the work session, it is required. We will be checking you in before you go out on course. If you do not check in, you are disqualified. When you're on course, you must wear an orange vest. We will provide the orange vest. You're welcome to bring one if you have one, but it must be orange, no other colors.
Yes.
While you're out on course, you must be on your feet. The only exception is if we say that either there's a red flag or we're doing like a tractor or water break, and we tell you explicitly that you can take a load off. Otherwise, it's just a safety concern. You have to be on your feet at all times, and you have to be watching the cars go by. So for 2 reasons. 1, so you know they're coming and so you are safe. And 2, like we said earlier, you have a responsibility to make sure you are watching the cars through your section so that if they hit a cone, you see it happen and you're not miscalling in penalties on someone else.
Yeah.
It is so important that you work the course with the exact same attention and level of attention to detail and level of care that you would expect from anyone else while you're racing.
Right. And please be facing the car. Sometimes we see, like when there's a tight corner, you'll have people who are back to back. The only problem with that is, if something happens, the person who's not facing is at a severe disadvantage. So please, follow the car with your body as it goes by, be facing it. It's just a much safer situation.
Yep. So know your cones, know your area, know where your cones stop and start and stop, so that you only call in your cones. What can happen is if there's a little vagueness where the next corner starts, you might call in a penalty that they also call in, and then you get a double count. So just be really clear with the folks next to you. The other part of that is knowing where those cones go. So you are responsible for knowing where they started. This is dirt. We can't draw a cute little chalk box around them like they do in autocross. And so you just have to have an awareness of where it was. We recommend off course, setting a rock or something like that. So you have a line of sight, a little visual to say, okay, line it up here. If it gets hit,
pacing out distance.
You can pace out the distance between 2 cones, especially in a slalom. If a slalom spreads out or gets tighter throughout the day, you are meaningfully changing the course. And so be sure you've just paced it out. If you are new and this sounds terrifying, don't worry. There is a captain at every corner who will tell you what to do. If you have any questions, just ask. They will be the ones with the radio. They'll have a red flag. So they're going to tell you what to do if you have any questions. So don't worry. Captains, you will have a radio, a red flag, and you will be responsible for knowing where the fire extinguisher is. So make sure that is close to you. Your red flag must be on your person. That is important because if a red flag gets called, you need to have it handy. We better not see you running back to your bucket to get the red flag. Too much time has passed if you have to run back and get it. When you are getting out to your corner, we will do a radio check, make sure we have good communication. And then your responsibility is just to organize your corner, organize your workers, know where your starts and ends, talk to the folks next to you. Radio calls, if you see someone hit a cone, we want you to very clearly and explicitly say, COM 1, car 1, 2, 3, 1 cone, and then let off the button and wait for a confirmation. Be sure to hold the button for a hot second before you start talking. It can take a minute for it to pick up your voice. But the same is true if there's an incident. So if you have someone that gets very far off course, let's just say, or they stall on course, we need you to be very clear. COM 1, car 1, 2, 3 is stopped on course. You have to be very clear so that we know how to manage it. Don't stay on the airwaves. Don't describe to us too much what's going on. Just very quick in and out, because then what we'll do is we might call a red flag. We might just hold start, but we have to be able to communicate with the workers.
It is okay also for you to call a red flag. If there's a car stopped on course, you're at COM 3, it is okay. It looks like the car is broken, you go ahead and call it, but make sure that we know which COM it is, because we will want to shut down everything leading up to that COM, but everything past there, we don't want to shut it down. We want to let those people finish. So if you give me COM 3, red flag, car broken on course, get off the air. I will then call column 4, 5, and 6 to be clear, but shut down 1, 2, and 3. So I'll call column 1, 2, and 3 red flag, column 1, 2, and 3, right? And we'll let it go. So just be really quick, let us know what it is. I know sometimes it's easy to get on the airwaves and say, oh, the car's on fire, or it's smoking, or it's doing this, it's doing that, and give us something really descriptive. The problem is we need that quick time to get and shut down everything coming up to you.
Yep.
So
if you hear red flag over the radio and you're a captain, pull out your red flag because you have it on your person. You want to wave it clearly without putting yourself in danger. It's a little bit of judgment needed there. You want to be sure cars can see it. You're going to bring them to a stop and you're going to listen to your radio for directions. Please don't radio asking for directions. We have other things to organize in that moment. And so when it's time, we will tell you what to do.
Yes.
Now, the only exception to that is if we have a red flag, we're getting everything cleaned up. And then we say, okay, COM 2, send your car back. And you're at COM 4 and you're like, they haven't told me what to do yet, and you don't hear any chatter. It is okay at that point, sort of near the end, to be like, I have a car here at COM 4. What should I do?
Right. If we're sending cars back, and we will usually ask if anybody else is out there. I mean, our main goal is to shut everything down and deal with the problem. And sometimes we can lose track of where a vehicle is out there on course, stopped. And so we'll then ask and you can tell us.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. When you're out on course, it is 2 hours where you will be standing. So please dress appropriately, dress comfortably. It is looking like it might be in the mid 80s, could be hotter. Last year was a little bit hotter. Come prepared to stand in the sun for 2 hours. So you're going to want to wear a hat, wear sunscreen, bring so much water you feel ridiculous. Trust us, you will not regret bringing extra water.
Yes.
Bring Gatorade or some kind of electrolytes.
Yep.
It is okay to have an umbrella.
Yep.
If you want to create shade for yourself, just make sure it's not red. That can get confused with a red flag, but umbrellas are great and welcome. We encourage you to do that. You cannot sit on course, but you can, if you want to, like bring a chair that is off course to use only in the moments that we described, like if we are tractoring or something like that, but it must be well off course. But again, these are long, hot days. So please prepare to take care of yourself. We don't want anyone to end up with heat stroke, which happened last year. So take care of yourselves. Those are all the things about race day. Now, just some general housekeeping items.
Yes.
No speeding, no donuts, no general hooning, as the kids say. We will ask you to leave immediately without exception. There's no warnings. We must be like respectful and good stewards of the sport. So behave yourselves.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, it's not usually competitors that we have to say that to, but if you have friends coming, just remind them to be respectful.
Yeah. And that means speeding around DirtFish as well. All the local law enforcement know when events are happening over there and are aware when people are ripping down those roads. So just don't.
Yep. So when it's race day, just pay attention to what is taped off and be mindful of that. Do not cross something that is taped off. That's intentional.
Yes.
Especially on course 2, we're going to have a lot of traffic kind of coming around in the same area where people will be. And so it's important, A, that if you are transiting, you are keeping your speeds very low. And then B, if you are walking, your head on a swivel, stay where you're supposed to be. Don't go off the path.
Especially over course 2, we will have roads that are one-way roads. So if you forget something, you can't just turn around and drive back up that road. So, just be aware of that because we're going to try and keep traffic moving in one direction.
Yep.
So
you may leave your car overnight, all of the days, Thursday to Sunday. If you are not taking a class and you want to leave your car overnight, please send me a quick note, or reply back to your competitor email, letting me know. I want to be sure I give you specific instructions for the day that you're dropping it off. The instructions for Thursday will be different than the instructions for Friday. If you're taking the class, don't worry about it. We'll tell you in class. This is just for anyone, like if you're coming into town on Thursday and you want to drop it, just ask for instructions. General housekeeping things, there's going to be food trucks both days. Last year, the food trucks both canceled because it was so hot. So prepare to support the food trucks, but also prepare to have your own lunch just in case. I know it kind of sucks, but we just always have to contingency plan with Rallycross. But if they're there, support them. It's going to be really fun to have them there. Spectators are allowed. Encourage them to come hang out, eat some food. Dogs are allowed.
Ride-alongs are allowed also.
Ride-alongs are allowed. Just have a spare helmet if you can, because like we said, we're not going to have enough loners. If you have a dog or if your friends have a dog, dogs must be on leash. Absolutely no exceptions. This is a safety risk for a number of reasons. They must be on leash. Don't make us tell you they must be on leash. And you need to pick up after them. So let's just keep the grounds clean. That's yucky.
Yes. If you have small dogs, be aware, you know, there are birds of prey and coyotes also on the property. So just
unattended.
don't let them be a snack.
Great. Bring sunscreen, bring water, bring electrolytes, bring snacks. Like I said, come prepared to take care of yourself. The only other thing is for you out of towners. It is cool in the mornings usually, especially up in the mountains. So bring layers. Even if it gets really hot, you'd be surprised. And bring a raincoat. Trust us, bring a raincoat, even if the forecast doesn't say it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the line. If you are only racing, you can stop watching. We're going to talk a little bit about the workshops. Feel free to stick around. It's not going to take too long. The workshops are Thursday and Friday. The advanced workshop is Thursday. The novice workshop is Friday. Read the schedules. They're in your competitor guide. We're going to start. You're going to show up. You're going to sign a waiver, get a wristband. You're going to go through tech just like any normal day. Once you pass that one tech inspection, you won't have to pass tech for the rest of the weekend, just to say it again. We will then have you line up in your groups. You will be broken up into groups for the day. So we'll have you line up in your groups. You'll leave your cars. We're going to go in for classroom time, hour and 15 minutes, give or take. And then we're going to have you hop in your cars. You're going to parade down. We're going to do some in-car practice. We're going to take a lunch break. Lunch is provided. Chipotle on Thursday, potbelly sandwiches on Friday. And then you'll get back in your cars. We'll do some more in-car practice. There will be coaches and instructors hopping in and out of your car. So come prepared to get some really good like hands-on training. And then at the end of the day, what we wrap up with is a practice course. So it is a short course, but it combines all the elements that you were practicing throughout the course of the day. So it's a really fun way to put it all together. And like I said, you can leave your car overnight. If you're doing both classes, it's the same sort of general schedule for both days. I think that's everything. Yeah. Cool. I think we said this early on. I'll say it again. If you have questions, if you need anything, please be sure to email us early because like we said, we'll be on site starting on Wednesday and it's really hard for us to be doing all the things and respond to email. If you do need to email during that time, just expect a delayed response. So just keep that in mind. Safe travels getting there. We are so looking forward to a super fun 4 days. We are so glad you're all coming.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.